Today we're going to replace a CV boot on a 2002 Sportsman 500. This is the rear axle CV boot. Here is the kit I bought online. It comes with the rubber boot, 2 clamps, inner and outer, and a new pack of grease. First we'll remove the tire and rim. Next, the upper control arm bolt, lower control arm bolts, and we need to disconnect the sway bar. Next is the cotter pin and large castle nut. And the hub slides right off. And next you're going to need to pull out these bushings. This should pull off. Might need a little bit of persuasion. put the nut back on so we don't damage the threads. And there it comes. Now we just need to pull out the axle. And it's held in by a snap ring. So this is what the axle looks like once it's removed from the four-wheeler. You can see the snap ring on the end. That's all that holds the axle into the differential housing. So we will cut the steel bands off of the boot, slide the boot down, get rid of some of the grease where we can see what we're doing, and remove the snap ring. So we have the boot pulled back and the grease cleaned out of the CV joint where we can see what we're doing. And in there you will see a small snap ring that can be very difficult to see with all the grease in there, and difficult to see with this cheap camera. But you'll put a pair of snap ring pliers in there, pry it apart, and pull the CV joint off. So with all the grease cleaned out, you can get at the snap ring, you can see it. Spread it apart. And a little bit of persuasion, and there it comes. There, it's off. Now you can slide the old rubber boot off, clean up all the grease and dirt, if there's any in there, and slide the new rubber boot on. And there is a lip right where the rubber boot sits, so you have to put it where it belongs. But we'll slide it up out of the way while we do the reassembly. So we did clean all the grease out in order to see the snap ring. The next what we'll do is we'll put some grease back in, the new grease that came with it. So next we'll just work that grease right into around the balls of the CV joint. So we've re-greased the CV joint, and we've got the outer part of the CV joint, or the CV joint itself, started onto the spline. So all you have to do from here is just push it all the way up until the snap ring clicks in, and that's it. And there it goes. So it's on now. So slide your boot down, put the clamps back on, and you're done. Now these clamps that came with this one are a little higher quality than what I took off. These are more in line with the factory fasteners. And this is what it looks like with the axle out. What you can see in there is the axle from the opposite side. What I've done is I put a bit of grease in there to make the axle slide in a little easier. Now it usually takes a few hits with a hammer to get that snap ring to compress enough to slide the axle shaft in. I always put a nut on the end of the threads so I don't mangle the threads. There it goes. Okay, that's in all the way. And we can just reassemble everything else and we'll be done.